Hey everybody, happy Sunday. I hope that wherever you are and whatever you are doing, you are having an amazing Sunday. It has been, frankly, a crazy week here at the Transport Evolved land, otherwise known as my house. We've been producing some extra stuff for a client, which always means that we're rushing around doing extra stuff, but I have some very cool things to update you on. First, our home is now officially remortgaged, and our home now has approval for solar panels. So I'm going to be working with a local installer. We're going to make a video on it to have 16.02 kilowatt peak of power put on the roof of this house, probably in the next couple of months. We've got to liaise with PGE, which is our local utility provider, and we've got to make sure that everything is, properly done and properly taken care of for that. But other than that, we are good. We are done. The other thing I wanted to tell you, which is why I'm standing here by my bolt even, not the vault, a bolt with a B. See, I sometimes even get it wrong as well, is that we heard back from Progressive Insurance, and I have been assured that Progressive Insurance have figured out how to remove the branding that was incorrectly put on this car by accident by a Progressive employee who basically clicked the wrong button and told the United States federal whatever list of all the cars that had been declared a write-off that this car had been written off when it hadn't. They have now agreed that no, it was never written off, it was an accident on their part and they're fixing it, and they supposedly have a way of doing that. So that is very good. It means that my car will no longer be branded, I won't have to sell my car to them, and I'm going to be quite happy about that. I'm going to get some eggs out of the chicken thing. Oh my goodness. Look at this. Everybody has laid an egg today. This is an egg from Margaret. This is an egg from Ada. They will go in my pocket. And then who else do we have? This is an egg probably from one of my Orpingtons. This one belongs to Grace because she lays wonderful chocolate eggs. And then the last one, that's another Orpington egg. Those other 4 eggs are fake eggs. They're not real eggs. They're just there to kind of encourage young hens to know where to lay their eggs. So I think that's a pretty good haul for today. The chickens hadn't been laying this week because we had a substantial snowfall. We had about 4 or 5 inches Tuesday, and it was covering everywhere, and then the snow disappeared yesterday. There's still a little bit here and there, but that's not what I want to talk to you about today. I want to talk to you about a problem that I've had for the last couple of days. It's been really frustrating me. It's been frustrating Grace too. And that is this. A lot of you have got rather upset when I was talking about Tesla and the Model S and Model X and how they were really expensive and Tesla hasn't yet pushed to Model 2. And a lot of you quite rightly reached out to me and said, well, Elon explained during the earnings call, which I hadn't heard by the time when I filmed that video, that Elon said during the earnings call they just don't have the battery capacity yet to make that affordable car. It's coming, it's just not there yet. And so obviously I need to kind of apologize for that. But it made me wonder, what would you like to see when it comes to lower cost EVs? Who should be responsible for them? How would you like people who cannot afford brand new EVs to get them? Do you want to see car companies have a mandated battery replacement program for companies like Nissan, who screwed up their vehicle design the first time round? And let's not forget, I own 2 older EVs now. They're both more than 4 years old, whose battery packs are doing just fine. Granted, there's the whole Bolt battery recall software thing to stop them from doing nasty things. But for the most part, all of the EVs that are on the market today, with the exception of the Nissan Leaf and maybe the Kia Soul EV, all have got really good battery capacities years after they were made. They don't need to have new batteries and have them replaced. Which does mean that EVs are now in the used car market, and I've got friends who've been buying used EVs for under $6,000, and that's fantastic. But it still doesn't address the question of how we get those people who are single parents, who don't have a lot of spare cash, behind the wheel of an EV. Now, a lot of you have been throwing around total cost of ownerships at me this week and saying, well, total cost of ownership is lower for an EV than it is for any other type of car. And you'd be totally right. It is. The problem with that and relying on total cost of ownership calculations is that the majority of people who are in the market for a used EV, an affordable EV, can only get a loan for a certain amount of money. They can't afford to pay the extra upfront in order to transition to EVs, which means they get locked into buying old bangers, old clunkers that have very inefficient engines that break down a lot and are very unreliable. And so I suppose today's question is kind of a social question. How do you tackle that problem? How do we tackle that problem? Because it's a problem that all of us need to have a solution to work, sorry. All of us need to work on a solution for. And it is everybody's problem because it's a societal problem, not just a personal problem. And I know someone will say, oh, well, they should work harder in the comments, but that's not the reality of it, is it? I know people who've worked hard all their life who are still struggling financially just because of circumstance, because of healthcare costs, because of family constraints. And I think in order for us to transition the entire global fleet to electric, which we need to do, let's not make any bones about that, we need to make sure that we've got a policy or some kind of program or some kind of even market force. It could be a free market thing if there was just some way to get people switching over. Now, one solution would be to ditch car ownership altogether, to say, okay, we're not going to have personal vehicles, to say autonomous vehicles will save us from that, and now we're just going to have, fleets of semi or fully autonomous vehicles that people can hire or book when they need to. But that's not really how it works in a lot of applications. That's not been a very reliable sort of setup going forwards. So I want to know how you would solve that problem. The problem of lower income families who can't get onto the EV ladder, and the problem of people who just can't afford to buy a brand new $30,000 or $40,000 car. And again, I'm going to be very unpopular with this, $30,000 is not affordable. It might be the average price, as a lot of you have reminded me, the average new car price in America is $35,000, $40,000. But I'm not sure if that's the mean, the modal. And the difference is very important because those two numbers are calculated very differently. And if you've got many, many people buying high-end expensive cars and lots more people buying low-end expensive cars that are a fraction of the cost of the high-end cars, it will still look like everyone's buying reasonably expensive cars when they're not. So I'd be interested if there are any statisticians who could help me out with that particular conundrum. I'm going to go now and console Ada, who just went in her nest box looking for the egg that I took out. I think she might be feeling a bit broody and now I feel really bad about it. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Thanks to the amazing people who support the channel. They are scrolling by on my right. And don't forget that we're currently hiring. We really do need someone to help out with the social media stuff because I've been working my tuchus off lately and it's not healthy and it's not sustainable. Keep evolving.